Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of The Enthusiasm Project. My name is Tom, and oh boy, it's kind of been a while. So let's just jump straight in to the scoop on Season 2. So if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I started it in January of 2019, and basically, as you know, I started it as like free therapy for myself, where I could just sort of escape the analytic craziness of YouTube, where you're focused on all these numbers and statistics and all these things, and just do something that's a little long form where I paid no attention to numbers or analytics or any of that kind of stuff, and just kind of see where it went. And it was really fun. And so we did 21 episodes in the first season, and I didn't really expect to do seasons, but basically after 21 episodes, I kind of felt like I got that stuff out of my system, where it was kind of like, cool, I did it. And now if I keep doing it the way that I'm doing it, it's just going to be repetitive. So why wouldn't you just go back and listen to some of the old episodes instead of a new episode? And so kind of wrapped up season 1 to think about where I wanted to go with season 2. And luckily, I have the perfect idea for that, or at least something I'm excited about that I think is the perfect idea. But before jumping into that, one thing that I really want to do is give a huge thank you to everybody for all of the comments and messages and emails I've gotten, because the thing about starting a podcast where you just sort of talk about whatever is on your mind for however long and you're not paying attention to any numbers is you don't actually expect someone to listen to it. It's just sort of a thing you're doing for, at first for your own benefit. But I've been kind of shocked with like these super kind things and messages that I've gotten from a lot of you. And I really genuinely appreciate it. And it kind of, in a good way, put the responsibility on my shoulders of, oh no, this has to be a thing people want to listen to and something I would want to listen to and, be entertained or be informed or motivated or, get something out of it, get some kind of nutrients from it when you're done listening to it. And so I really genuinely appreciate that. And I hope that you enjoy and are on board for season 2. We have got a lot to go through, and it's going to take a while. So we're not going to get through it all in one episode. And I can't even do it alone in one episode. So today I have a very special guest making her, I don't even know what number, return to the Enthusiasm Project podcast is the spectacular Heather Ramirez.
Do.
I don't.
Hello.
I don't know if I have an applause thing, but anyway, hi Heather.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good.
Perfect. Well, see you guys later. Hope you enjoy season 2. No, I'm obviously kidding with that. So before we jump into today's topic, let's kind of catch people up a little bit. Because stuff has happened. Last time you were here, you know what we were talking about?
No.
We were talking about creating an event in October.
It is past October now.
So October is totally, at least this October is over. So we had talked about, organizing this like digital media conference type thing and putting it together. And I think we're both still excited about some type of idea like that, but it just is not a thing that happened, because we got a little bit sidetracked with other things, and now there's a different event that we have to plan, which is our wedding.
Our wedding. Da, 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 da.
There. That's the one sound effect I got. So, yeah, instead of doing digital media thing, we went and got ourselves engaged.
Yes.
Which was pretty spectacular and really exciting. So hopefully you can kind of understand why other things got put on the back burner, because that was a big deal. And if you want to kind of know more about that or jump in, you can go to one of Heather's YouTube channel, Heather's vlog channel, where she posted her engagement, her proposal video to me. And you can kind of see literally like the whole thing right there, right?
Yeah.
So just go to youtube.com/HeatherJustCreate, and it's it's just right there, and you can.
Yeah. So we proposed to each other. So most of the video is my proposal video, and then Tom's proposal, he recorded it with his drone, of course.
Right. So we did. So this was Heather's idea, and I thought it was a brilliant idea. Instead of, one of us, typically the guy surprises the girl, and it's this very one-sided thing. Heather wanted to do it equally, and we both get to be surprised, and we both get to plan a surprise. So the date wasn't a surprise. We just picked our 2-year anniversary, which is October 18th. And I wasn't confused about when the anniversary was. I was just like, do we say our anniversary on the thing or not? But like people would know already, especially if they watch your channel where like the whole thing is documented. So anyway, so we knew the date, and we each just knew we're going to take some time on that day and plan a little surprise. So we didn't know how the other was going to do it. Mm-hmm. How did you do it?
I made a video, and I knew I had that video. I had it finished for about a week. But I wasn't sure, to be honest, when I was going to play it. I was just going to bring my laptop on the trip with us and just, whenever it felt right. But we woke up that morning, and you were still checking work emails. And I was like, this is not, I had spent 2 weeks preparing for this video, having to watch literally having to watch every single vlog and video and live stream from both of our channels to find the shots and footage to put in that video.
Over the past like more than 2 years. And we were planning to go on an anniversary trip to Vegas. And that morning, it was like 5:30 or 6 in the morning, and I was checking working emails, and I was going on and on about like a fire that was in the news, and then you were just like, stop.
I mean, it just was like, I felt because I had this assignment I had given myself, I had reminisced without you, and it felt weird that we were going into this like super important weekend about us, and I'm freaking out about it, like in a good way, but
right.
you're thinking about work, and it was a Friday, people are going to work, and you play a big part at work, so of course people are talking to you for whatever they need to do, and I just felt like I just, as soon as I saw you do that, I felt like it was the right time. Like,
and
it just felt right. I was like, I need to show him this so it kicks off the whole fun.
Yeah, because originally you were planning to do it at night. You told me you needed time in the evening. And so I was like, okay.
Oh, it was yeah.
I was planning to do mine like mid-morning. So the morning was just kind of the morning. But anyway, you like sat me down on the couch. Which is totally the opposite of what you think of with a big like flowery moment, because it's just the couch. It's early morning. We're in pajamas. Like,
yeah, we were at home chilling, like completely.
Hair's
in our
a mess.
element.
Everything's just like very in the natural element. Dogs around, and then you just sat down and played this video, which was like the best video I've ever seen, obviously.
Yeah, and I do have to say, like, I think one of the most common questions I get about it was like, were you nervous? And 100% I was unexpectedly so crazy nervous.
Yeah.
Like, of course, I've seen the video so many times before I played it for you. You are the person I talk to most in life, but for some reason when it came time, I couldn't even talk. It was crazy. So
it was
and
nuts.
Of course, when you proposed to me, I completely lost it too.
Yeah. So in the video, you asked the question, and you're sitting there right next to me, and of course I said yes because I'm a sane person, and I would never say anything else because it's like an absolute dream. But it was the best feeling in the like. Being on the receiving end of that surprise and that question and the whole thing was like a feeling that I can't really explain. It was pretty.
That's how I feel.
There's just no words. And then later in the day, we were driving to Vegas, and I had planned this whole thing, and oh my gosh, I had it all planned out. I had bought a ring like months before. I had this 3D printed ring box, pictures of it all in Heather's video, and I was so excited for it. And I had an idea of where I wanted to go, which was on the way to Vegas. If you kind of go the back way from Southern California, you just sort of go through the desert, and there's these rock formations just overlook like empty desert. And we had stopped there a couple years ago on our very first trip, like before we were actually even a thing. We stopped there and like filmed the vlog and stuff, and I flew my drone, and I was like, oh, we should stop and film more stuff there, like a redo of our thing. And then my plan was to put the drone up in the air, and then while it's up in the air, then I can
So
I can pop the question. But oh my gosh, the minute I woke up this morning, I was like, what's the weather gonna be like? Like, what's happening right now? We got over there and it was real windy, and there was like this one, older couple with like walking their dog or something. I was like, okay, this is fine. They were leaving because I didn't want to be distracted by people. I didn't want to cause a spectacle. I wanted it to just sort of be our thing. Right as they left, like this SUV of like really young, just super psyched people got out and were doing
influencers.
We called them European influencers because I think they were European and they were just going nuts with social media posts and every kind of combo of everything. And it was just like, okay. And so I was seconds away from going like, all right, we'll just do something else. Like, let's just keep going. And you were just like, oh, we can just come back on Sunday on the way home or whatever. And then finally, like, I got the hint. I saw someone go back to their car, and I was like, okay, if I can hold out like 2 or 3 more minutes, I think they're gonna leave, and then I can do this the way that I planned. And that's what happened. We put the drone up. I was like, oh no, the whole time I've been flying, the drone wasn't recording. I need to get all these shots again, which is totally not what happened. And then, put the drone up, faced us, and then it was able to ask the question and offer the ring. And it was, then I was crazy nervous. I was so scared I was going to drop the ring down the rocks or something terrible. And then, you were surprised. And it was, here's the takeaway. Do a mutual engagement. If you're getting engaged,
totally.
Do a mutual one, because it is the best to be on both sides of it, to be able to plan something and surprise someone, and then to be able to have that done for you, and especially like on the same day. It's just the best. So
it was so cool.
By 10:30 in the morning, we were just
amazing.
like, this is the best day ever.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then we went to Vegas. We went ziplining down Fremont Street. We just had the greatest weekend, and
It was so nice.
And came home happily. So long story long, that's why there was no event.
I know. I was like, I didn't know we were planning to talk about this.
Well, I can't start season 2 and just be like, let's talk about other things that are not, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room and then move on, because it really does affect what we're talking about later today. So anyway, that's something that's going to be popping up in over the season and whatnot. But here's what we're actually talking about today. It's really 2 things. So the theme of this season of the podcast is actually me documenting in one way or another my journey of starting a business.
So you decided.
So I decided. And
I first suggested this to Tom a few weeks ago, and he straight up shot me down. No, I don't want anyone to know about what I'm thinking.
the thing, well, you have your ideas, and then I meet you there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
it takes me a while.
That's with many things.
It's with all
in
of
our
the things,
relationship.
like 100% of the things. So it just takes me a while to figure it out.
I don't know. Tom needs to marinate on these ideas that just seems so natural to me. Like literally, I was like, why don't you document this? It's like such a cool story to tell, and you're of all people, that's what I've been doing. And I'm like, hello, it's so cool, it's so fun, and why wouldn't you? And he was like, no, and here we are. So it doesn't matter.
But anyway, now I understand. The last horse crosses the finish line over here. But that was a New Year's resolution way back in January. Was I wanted to start a business in 2019 for a lot of reasons, and I didn't know any more than that. And now that it's 11 months in, towards the end of the year, I've had a lot more insight, learned a lot, had a lot of experiences. It's something that I want to make sure I still do, and I think it's a great thing to document, because not only is it interesting, but it's probably also helpful for other people, especially maybe if you're kind of like me and you're gainfully employed, but it kind of seems like starting a business is for other people. It's not what you do. How do you even go about approaching that? What's the first step? Why would you want to do it? So that's what we're talking about this whole season. So every episode is just some step of that. And Heather is here because you're going on 3.5, 4 years of having quit, a traditional career path to start your own business, and all the ups and downs and challenges and successes that come with that. And my business, may very well end up being our business, because it's, given recent developments, everything is kind of ours. And we're a good team. So it's kind of important that you're a part of the conversation.
Yeah,
I think.
totally.
So
Just for the record, I think we're just better. I think our things are better when we do it together.
peanut butter and jelly are great by themselves, but they're real good together.
Yeah. That's all. I just want to put that on the record as we move forward.
So let's move forward with the theme of today's episode, starting a business, getting engaged. Today, we're talking about failure. Yay. And it made me, I was laughing because the title of this episode is just failure, but I feel bad because I don't know how to phrase it, but it's going to say like failure with Heather Ramirez, and it's going to sound bad, but I think but failure is something that I've been thinking about and dealing with in different ways recently, especially since season 1 of the podcast ended. And I think it's important to explore before jumping into something like starting a business. And I think that I don't want to put you on the spot to contribute anything, but I want insight into what I'm dealing with. And then feel free to pepper in your own experiences if you want. But everyone has their own thoughts, feelings, experiences with failure in different forms. So a couple things that I think I failed at.
Sure. Spill it.
Recently. The first one, which none of these should really be a surprise for you. The first one is California Teacher of the Year.
Wow, you're putting that out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
So this is, with my day job as high school digital media teacher. We've kind of talked about this on some of the past episodes, but maybe a year and a half ago, I was honored to be selected as our school district's Teacher of the Year. And that was amazing and nothing that we ever thought would happen. And we were both shocked when that happened. And then a year later, just this past spring, I was selected as Riverside County Teacher of the Year, which is huge. There's 22,000 teachers. And to be, recognized among a lot of amazing teachers is a big deal. And then the next step of that, you go from county to state. And it's this massive application process, and the state selects 5 Teachers of the Year in no particular order, and then something like 17 finalists. And finalist is a title in and of itself. And, you're put together with a whole coach. My coach was this, perennial expert who, including this year, has every year for the past 20 years coached a Teacher of the Year for the state of California, including one National Teacher of the Year. And we worked really hard, hours and hours, hundreds of pages of stuff going through letters of recommendation,
Summer
essays you had to write.
vacation.
A big chunk of my summer vacation went to this application process. And I was happy to do it. It was awesome to be reflective. And I learned a lot from my coach. And, we were going through my application, and it was just kind of, when you have to put it all in one place, especially doing digital media and career tech, it was like, God, this is so much stuff. It's so different than what you think of when you think of teaching. And she was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen an application like this. Like this has to get their attention. And you send it all in, and you just kind of wait, and you don't hear anything. And you send it in July, and they don't really tell you anything till October. And so one October and a Friday, I was at work, and I got a phone call at 6:15 in the morning from my Teacher of the Year coach. And I said, hello. And she goes, did you hear anything? And immediately I was like, this is it. You don't want to admit that you want these things, because you're like, oh, it's like when people are nominated for an Academy Award and they're like, everybody's great. And it's like, of course they are, but you want to win, And that phrasing, that situation, 6:15 in the morning, I was like, this happened. And she was like, you heard anything? I was like, no. She's like, oh, because they came and visited, this other applicant, but you haven't heard anything. I was like, no. She's like, oh, if they visited one person from our county, they're probably not going to visit a second. So I guess that means no. I was like, oh, okay. And, she was very apologetic and whatnot. And I was like, oh, it's okay. And I was very proud of how I handled it. and at first I was like, well, you know what? It's a lot off my plate that I don't have to deal with anymore. It's a lot of pressure gone. I can just focus on other things. And then I got more and more sad about it as the days and weeks went on. And I felt silly for being sad about it. And then, they don't tell you necessarily that you didn't get it, but eventually they just tell you other people got it. And you're like, okay, yay. And then I thought, well, at least maybe I'd be a finalist or something out of if there's 20. Nope, nothing, just nothing. And I feel bad for admitting how much that sucks, but it really felt like failure. Because up to that point, this insane process going from being nominated by your school as a teacher to the district to the county, it was just like every hurdle was exceeded and, successfully made it over. And you're just like, okay, this is just the next one. And, I've got this input from people with tons of experience that say like, you're good to go. Everything's going to be awesome. And then it wasn't. And it sucked. And I still feel pretty crappy about it because you also don't get a do-over. It's not like next year, oh, let's do it again. It's like, that's it for my entire teaching career. It's over. And that sucks. But
I have thoughts.
okay, let me hear your thoughts while I gather my thoughts.
Okay, let me, I have thoughts. So I saw this manifest. I think you were in denial for a little bit about how much it really bothered you. And I understand how you were feeling. But to me, I think if we're talking about failure, I think it's funny how this, I know it felt like a failure. I get it. But also, it's not something that you ever even realize. Like, it's not something you knew.
It wasn't a lifelong goal or anything.
It wasn't even, like, honestly, I don't even think you realized it was a thing. Or at least a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I knew all about it, but I didn't think it was like something that I would even have a chance for.
It wasn't something that you were like working towards,
right?
Where I feel like if you set a goal and you're working towards it and you don't hit that goal, perhaps you can see that as a failure. And yes, okay, once like you hit this threshold and then that was an option, then you can say that you worked towards it. But it wasn't that long. It was you got the district thing or the county thing, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, from that moment till when you submitted the application or till when you got the answer back, it was like that was you trying. But it just, I can see how disappointing it felt, because obviously that's huge for a teacher. That's the biggest, the second biggest honor that you can get.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of recognition in teaching, and so to suddenly go like, oh, this thing that I've been busting my butt and self-doubt and all this stuff for all this time, like, oh, it is getting recognition. And the part that actually bugs me the most about it is, I remember, when I was going through the whole process of, to be honest, like the county application was way more rigorous than the state application. Because the county, they come and do visits and interviews, and the state, they just kind of flip through applications, and the people they're interested in, they send a couple people out to do like very brief visits. They just sort of pop in a classroom for literally like 20 minutes and then they leave and make their decision. The county one is like, I guess if you've made it through the county phase, and the state knows everybody is qualified, so whoever they go to like has already passed that level. But being like recognized for county was this, I couldn't believe it. And then the state thing took over, and when I didn't get the state, I feel so guilty that it has entirely overshadowed this other really cool honor and really cool accomplishment that now feels like, it's like second best. And I feel like
so sad because it was such a big deal
about it. I know it's still a cool thing. It's one of the coolest professional honors I've ever had, and it sucks that because I feel like I failed at something else, that now it's coloring negatively the way that I feel about this other thing that's not a failure. And I'm trying to process that in a positive way to learn from it, which is, especially thinking about starting a business, it's like, okay, I'm going to start something that is, or even think about a YouTube channel. Start a YouTube channel, like, cool, I'm getting subscribers and views and whatever, and then you go look at someone else, you're like, oh, they're doing it better than me, and it's that comparison thing, and it ruins things. And this is kind of that, where it's like, if you start a business, you're gonna start comparing, and then you stop appreciating what you have because you're focused on what you don't have. And that's really like the real world lesson that I'm trying to take away. Because I think it's really trendy to talk about, everybody fails and failure is important. And I talk about it in my class. But when you're going through any kind of a failure, whether it's big or small or whatever, and, this failure doesn't involve anyone being in danger. Like, I was still healthy and happy. Like everything was still great, even though it was a failure. But when you're dealing with failure in the moment, it's really hard to just like snap out of it and like, oh, cool, learning experience, great, move on. Like it kind of lingers in a way that it's like getting yourself out of tar. It just sort of sticks to you. And as trendy as it is to talk about overcoming failure and learning from failure, it's hard to do when you're in the middle of it. And so I'm trying to reframe that positively.
Well, just create more. And that's what you're doing.
Just work hard, be kind, have fun, just create more. But yeah, so that was a failure. I mean, and you can argue it's not a failure, but I feel like it is, and I'm trying to process that.
Yeah, I firmly stand by. I feel like, honestly, you didn't work towards it. I mean, yes, you can argue your entire career since you were born was working towards this thing, but you didn't realize it was a thing. It was never a goal for you to get that. Like, I don't consider that a failure.
I know.
You know, you want to start a YouTube channel, you want to start a podcast, and then you just stop. That's a failure.
Right.
You know, that was not. It was just, you didn't get it. Like,
that would linger longer too.
So let's talk. What I mean?
Let's talk about failures with YouTube channels and stuff, because that's my next one. Which I don't think we've really talked about, actually. So I'm excited. And again, when I talk about these failures, like keeping in mind, these are failures that involve people, like I said, still being healthy, still having, food and shelter and all that kind of stuff. So they're not devastating, life ruining failures, but it's just those stumbling blocks that you come over. So recently, I got to do my very first officially sponsored video on my YouTube channel.
Are you going to tell me that was a failure?
I am.
What?
So,
what?
So let me go into this. Let me kind of explain.
I can't believe you right now.
Well, this is good. See, we haven't talked about this. So if you know me or you watch my channel at all, I don't have ads on my videos yet. Something we'll talk about later, but I also haven't done sponsored thing. I've done a few videos where people will send something for free, like a boosted board bag or a camera filter or whatever, but it's not a sponsored thing. I can say positive, negative things about it or just ignore it or whatever. But this was literally company paying money to do like a sponsored video. And the reason I accepted it was because it was a company I like. It was Epidemic Sound that I've used for, I don't know, a year and a half. I've used their service as a paid customer. In addition to like Artlist, which is the royalty-free music. So when you need music for your videos, it's services that just you subscribe to them and you got music that's royalty-free, huge libraries of music and sound effects and stuff. And a while ago, they had offered me, because I had been talking about their services just on my own, because it's a big part of video production. And they're like, oh, hey, here's, an affiliate link you can sign up for. So if you put that in your video descriptions, people click on it, and then if you send people to us, you get a commission for every person. I was like, cool. I like affiliate links because they're just sort of there. People ask those questions anyway. If I'm helping a company sell a product, sure, like I'll take a commission for it. But I never wanted to like change, here's a product that I never used that now I'm advertising or anything like that. And so I really admire Epidemic. I like them. The way they approached me was so professional. It was like, this is why I've said no to all of those other like weird Chinese companies that approach you to like as soon as you have like any kind of audience, even small on YouTube, you get these weird emails that are in like broken English about like, try this the H164B microphone for professional microphoners is here, and you're like, I don't know what this is. And they want you to do some weird sponsored video, and it's a good idea just to kind of say no to all that stuff. I said no to everything so that I could wait, so when I did something it would be meaningful and my input would actually be of some kind of value, because I don't just whore myself out and like, yeah, I'll advertise anything for anybody. And so this was cool. It totally fit. I was really excited about it. The cool part was Epidemic's a pretty big business. They're based not in the United States. They're based in Sweden. So they're like, we're on different time zones. We have to like talk once a day as like they're going to bed and I'm waking up. But anyway, they're really professional. And I told them right off the bat, I've never done this before. I am happy to do it if you can walk me through the process. And they're like, cool. So they held my hand the entire way of how to navigate this. They have forms, they have contracts, they have the whole thing. They kind of like, they pay you like a sponsorship for the video. And then they were really insistent on like, make this fit in the tone of your channel. Make a video you would make anyway. Like don't sacrifice your integrity for the sake of a sponsorship. But when you talk about it, like, make sure to hit these points. which were just things like, hey, it's a music library that has this many songs and this is the price, and kind of the basic stuff you would talk about. And so I did all that, and the video was good, and they were awesome. Like, I sent it to them. They gave, one round of revisions. I revised the video, sent it up. I was super excited about it. The reason I feel like it was a failure is because it's gotten, the least amount of attention of any video in the past several months that I've put out. And in terms of referrals and stuff, I don't have access to. This was for like a different service that they offer. And so there's like a link to go, but I don't have access to the back end of that to like really see how it's been performing. And I don't believe it's performed that well. And so they haven't said anything. They're like, cool, like here's, whatever, here's the next info. Thanks again. But they're definitely not coming to me like, oh my God, like you really like knocked it out of the park for us. Like we want to like figure out more stuff to do. And I feel like this was something I cared about. This was like, someone that I wanted to do something good for, that I wanted to like be valuable for. And I feel like I didn't hit the mark, and I am sad.
I have thoughts.
That should be the title of your podcast.
I have thoughts.
I'm Heather Ramirez, and I have thoughts.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me your thoughts.
Where do I start? Well, let's start with just logistics. From a business standpoint, I'm a business owner. I've years of experience in marketing, advertising. I'm exposed to this thing. Like this is my industry, okay? And I will tell you from the business perspective, I would be willing to bet that you have not referred them any business. And I will tell you it's because your audience is not business owners.
Right.
They are not.
Right. And this video was for not just their music subscription, but their business license music subscription.
Your Epidemic, don't you do referral for just the normal?
I have like that affiliate and stuff, which people click on and buy stuff through.
See? So yeah, if you do it to the product that's relevant to your audience, yes, you're going to convert, and that's already been proven. You're going to pitch a thing to, you're pitching the wrong product to the wrong audience, so that's not going to convert. But in terms of like, okay, yeah, you wanted the video to perform well. I personally consider this a win because this was your first sponsored video. You got approached to make this video. From the business standpoint, they're not looking for referral. They're looking for content. They just need someone to make the content because they can't make it themselves. Of course, the referral is the bonus on top, but they knew going in that your channel is for independent creators. Your channel is not for... So
what's the value, like, from a business point of view, what's the value of having... what's the value of that? I know, like, on their end, like, I don't have a massive channel or anything, so it's not like I didn't get, like...
I mean, you could use that for anything. Like, you can... They can put that in their emails. They can tweet it out. They can... It's, someone explaining their service in a way that they just don't have the capacity to do so. If they had made the same video, it would be a commercial.
Right.
So even if they don't convert on the audience, which they shouldn't have expected to do anyway because it's not the right audience, like
they still have the resource.
Like if they went to someone like, I don't know, Pat Flynn, who works specifically with entrepreneurs, yes, you're going to convert. Maybe. He's more of a podcast audience, so if you can use the music...
You can, which is why I have our intro song, this little ditty is an Epidemic song that I wasn't sure if I could use or not, but now I know I can totally use it on podcasts.
Yeah, see? So like that is someone who, if you're on the marketing team and you're finding creators on YouTube or whatever platforms, and you're being, you're like, okay, we need the content marketing. Here's the content marketing, but here's the business development. And the business development, you need to vet the audience, actually go through the comments that people are leaving on that channel and see their channels. And are these entrepreneurs? Are you actually going to convert sales? I really don't think that they expected that. So I don't think that you should think that they think that you're a failure.
I think I understand.
You know what I mean? So to me, I consider this a win. The fact that you even got a sponsorship, like that's huge.
I know, from a company that I admire,
legitimate-
a legit, like a good one.
that you shop at,
Yeah.
that you believe in, that you
Right.
have given money to. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I think I don't see why you wouldn't see this as a win. And personally, I think maybe it's just because you don't have that, like, I hope that what I said reframes kind of what you're thinking, because I really don't think that okay, fine. In the grand scheme of your channel, it's probably one of the lower viewed ones. But again, I think that goes back to the fact that it's not the right audience. Like, I feel like even if I did it, it was like, my channel is about entrepreneurship. Or even if I just had the link, I have so many connections of business owners who
Right.
actually need the music.
Right.
I feel like that's not.
I think it played into an insecurity of not being as valuable as I wanted to be to someone or an organization that I wanted to be valuable to. And so that,
You were valuable to them. Like, you did what they wanted.
I hope I did.
You did. I will tell you that. I mean, they wanted you to make a video in your style, in your production value, and you did.
So these are the insights from business points of view that I don't understand, which are important in the
Do you know
world
how much
of
it costs
starting
to-
business.
Honestly, like, I don't know how much they paid you,
But
but the
I
fact
do not
that-
command a giant.
I know, but
giant
the
amount.
fact that they're able to use your, what is it called? Like, your face and your likeness and your voice and all. I mean,
brings
people,
in the money.
No, but people, that's not cheap. Like,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm hoping that maybe it does something positive in the future, but right now I've been feeling a little like,
I consider it a win.
Well, I like
And
that.
I think, I consider it a win. And I think that you also, this is going to be the first of many in my in my opinion. And I think that you needed to go through, I think this is such a great introduction of, like,
Right.
Here's a legit company holding your hand through the whole process.
Right.
So now that when it happens again, you now okay, you're never going to get paid less than this, because it only goes up from here.
Right.
Your audience is growing, your experience is growing, it's only up.
Oh, it was amazing because I also had to like do invoices for them.
Yeah.
And I had to do, they were so nice. I had to do 3 drafts of my invoice because every time I sent it, it was missing something. And they're like, can you put this full address? Can you put an invoice number? Can you do this? So now I have a template for an invoice, and I can literally do invoice 002 next time, which is cool. And one of the things too, which kind of kicked off the business thing, was when they were trying to get all the payment stuff, like, okay, what's your business number? I forget what they called it, but your organization ID. And I was like, Tom, like, I don't know what that is. And they're like, oh, like, for your business, like, how do you do that? And I was like, I'm just a guy. Like, I don't have that. And luckily, like, we were able to work it out, but they were really cool. And that was one thing that really clicked it into gear, was because the person that I was dealing with, she was like, well, if you ever thought of starting a business or incorporating or whatever, this could be a good time to do it, to have it all set up. And that's where it was like, there's actually like a need. And then you and I were talking about, we have multiple streams of income from our various online ventures. You currently do have ads on your channel, your vlog channel. So there's Google AdSense coming in. There's affiliate links. I have Amazon affiliate. I have Artlist and Epidemic affiliate. And then you have like online course stuff. So there's all these little streams that are trickling in, and they can trickle into just like your personal bank account or whatever, and they have to keep track of them and tax it. But our first step of, business ownership is you need business plans, you need all this kind of stuff. But right now it's like we have this money that's coming in from primary business, for me, side business. Like, where should it go that makes sense? And so that's where it kind of makes sense to, like, hey, let's form an LLC that just kind of like takes care of this stuff. It all goes here. It's all, just there. And then from there, we develop the plan of what the heck is the plan, right? Right? I don't know. Let's just stop recording. Tell me what to do.
I don't think that this is something that you need to. I don't think that this is what you should be thinking about right now. I think it's out of order. I think that you should think more about the business plan before. I mean, yeah, we could do that, but it costs money to be a corporation. It costs money to be an LLC.
But it doesn't cost a lot.
It's $800.
I mean, okay, it doesn't cost couch change, but it doesn't cost $50,000. You know, like it's a doable.
I would want to make that sustainably before, signing a contract where you have to pay that every year no matter what.
Right.
That's my thing.
Right. So that's what we're trying to figure out is what is this business plan? Is it and what do? That's what we're trying to figure out. And for me, I mean, why did you start your business? We've talked about this on a past episode, but in, the Spark Notes version of like, why not just keep your salary job with like full benefits?
Because, how do I answer that quickly? I guess my, instinctual answer to that is that I felt like my skill set and talent and what I have to offer was best served doing the thing that I was most passionate about. And in my career, I was always stifled. I was always held back. I was always having to do things that I didn't necessarily want to do, which of course that's, that doesn't go away in entrepreneurship. But I feel like ever since I started a business, I've made an impact beyond my wildest dreams. Like I would have never thought I would have made an impact like this in ever. Like I didn't even think that was possible.
Right.
And it's because everything is just on my terms. It's like I can, speaking of failure, it's to me, being an entrepreneur, I've completely redefined my definition of failure. It's not even something that you necessarily overcome. It's more of like, okay, Tom and I got into this show recently, anime. Dr. Stone.
Oh yeah, that was. We
and
were
it's
going to
like
start an anime
the
podcast.
Best. I know, but it's like one of our favorites, and it's about a kid who's just basically a scientist, and he approaches everything with the.
I know, I love it. He fails all the time.
Yeah, it's just, what is it, the scientific method?
Yeah.
He has a hypothesis. He just needs a hypothesis. You just need what you think is going to happen, so that you set your goal. And then you just test something. If you don't hit it, fine, that's considered a failure. But the way that I see that is just that it's just data. You have to adjust. No matter what, you're never going to hit the mark. And pre-entrepreneurship, my definition of failures hit me so hard to my core, to the point depression, anxiety, manifested in a lot of destructive behaviors, et cetera, et cetera. I felt like a failure my entire life. Like I wasn't getting married at the right time. I was a fifth year super senior in college. I failed and sucked at school. I just constantly felt like I wasn't living the way I was supposed to.
Right.
And that hurt. It like really hurt me to my core. And now it's like, it's funny because I'm kind of all over the place, but I feel so fulfilled. Like I feel like the fact that we're engaged, like what are we doing? Great. It's Friday night, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and we're hanging out doing a podcast. Like it can't best. To me, this cannot get any better. And yes, I just got an email yesterday, someone telling me I was a failure. You can say that I'm a failure. You can say this whole thing is a failure, but I don't feel like it is. Like, really, if I were to sit down and think, like, am I happy? That's what it comes down to. Am I happy? Yeah. And, speaking of failures, like, one actual example of it, we could talk about my online course. My first technically, my second online course was a giant flop. I probably made $1,000 on it. And I know why, looking back, I know why. And if I know for sure, if I were to make a new one, that would not happen because of everything I learned from that first one. Yeah.
And it sucks too, because that was a good course.
I know, but now
a lot of work went into it.
It's not that I didn't, it's like, here's the thing with, here's the beauty about approaching success and failure and trying new things with the scientific method is that it just takes the emotion out of it. And the reason why I failed is because I literally didn't know. Like, I didn't know. I'd never done it before. I didn't know what was right or wrong. I didn't know, like, the best way to do anything. And, of course, I'm learning all of this from the freaking platform that's selling me the damn thing. Like, of course, they're going to be like, you could do it and make millions. Like, but now like, I learned so much that whatever I create next I have that experience that I didn't have that
Yeah.
other time. I have the data to be able to adjust accordingly. I completely forgot your question. What was the question that we were talking about? Oh, why'd I start entrepreneurship? So
It's
yeah,
what?
like so basically, I feel like ever since that was like the hardest decision I've ever had to make. I thought I was going to go get another job and just do, don't fail. Like the successful route would have been to get another job, but I don't even know. Like it was just Gary Vee, Casey Neistat, and a social media conference that just the three of those things made me come up with the idea of like, I think I could just do something. I have no idea, no business experience. And we could talk, I mean, every day technically is a failure because I'm technically every day in the red, but I don't know. I feel like I'm still here. I'm still going. I'm adjusting accordingly. I feel like I'm getting better. You know this, like you believe in me, and I put a lot of, weight on that.
I've seen you do a lot of incredible stuff, and I've learned a lot. And and
I'm not saying that this is all sunshine and rainbows. Like, yeah, of course I'm happy, but Tom has seen me in the worst I've ever been in my life. Okay, like it's not pretty, it's not easy, but starting a business, especially for Tom, I think is going to be very, very simple. Well, it's not going to be easy, but I think it's going to be so straightforward because his skill set is so it's so dynamic. He has me who's going to help him with the marketing,
that's the best
the branding.
Resource of all.
That's like the hardest part is the marketing because if you can't explain what you sell, forget it. Doesn't matter if you have the best product. And
I don't even know what it is that we want to sell yet. So that's what we're doing. This is to figure all that out. This is the thesis, the first thing. But the big reason that I want to do it is not because I'm looking to like jump ship and like leave my good gainful
we gotta
employment.
put the disclaimer.
Well, I don't want like that. That's not what it. That's not.
No.
That's not the plan. But what it is I don't want to stay at my job because I have to.
Yeah,
because I'm stuck. I want to consciously choose to continue to do what I'm doing because I want to, not because like, well, I have no other option, so I'm just gonna do this for like 30 years.
Well, and what I think is that I believe that every person should have a side hustle if they can. It's so freaking easy now.
Well, it's easy. It's, I mean, from my experience, it's fulfilling, but also, I mean, for me, working in public education is, it's such a weirdly controlled. Like you just can't do anything. The gears turn so slowly that the idea, which is why one of the reasons I started my YouTube channel in the first place, where you can just be in charge of something and you can decide I'm doing this now, and then you do it, or like this is where there's just none of that is unbelievable. And obviously, like the further you get into like the world of business, and if you grow or whatever, that changes because there's all kinds of obstacles and structure. But that where it's your thing that you're in charge of, I think is
Tom is always so jealous when I'm like, yeah, I had an idea this morning, and guess what? It's already done.
Yeah, I did it today. My boss, like told me, and just the fact that you can decide like, oh, it's it's Monday, I'm sick, like
yeah, I'm just like, oh, Tom has a day off too. Cool. So do I.
Or it's Saturday night and I just need to work or whatever, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And there's no subs, there's no hours, nothing. It's just sort of like
I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I just go straight to work.
Right. It's like.
But that's by choice. I don't have to like wait for a certain time or anything. Yeah.
You just have to do the things that you set out to do in the way that you decide is best to do them. And God, I'm jealous of that.
I know you are.
So, I mean, that's kind of the impetus behind it is taking the feeling of wanting to be in charge of something that led me to want to start a YouTube channel in the first place and turn that into something that's a little more viable. Because I've had a few months lately, there's reasons for that, but where without ads, without trying to sell anything, my YouTube channel has brought in $1,500, $2,000 extra a month.
See, and that's insane. Like that,
That's
I was over
nuts.
here thinking it was only $500. Like,
well, I mean, sometimes it's $56.
Yeah,
so
I know,
it varies.
But the fact that you've hit that threshold,
that's why like
it's just gonna grow from here. As your audience grows, as your opportunities grows, as the more videos that you have out there, I think like forget what you want to do in life. I just think it's a smart move as a human being,
Well, it's an organic thing of like, oh, there's something here. Like I need to I need to look at it and figure it out for a second, because there's a thing here that's happening that I would have never expected when you click create account a couple years ago. Like,
Yeah.
like what?
I mean, maybe I'm obviously biased because I see the monetization opportunities with YouTube and the personal branding and, what you have to offer and all of that. But I just see it as an investment. Plus, it's so great because you love doing it.
Well, that's the way things are coming around is really cool, because I see so many people. I'm in, like Facebook groups and things where people, as soon as they hit that 1,000 subscribers and the watch time thing, they're like ads everywhere. And it's, they're so stupid. As soon as they can do sponsor things. And it's just like, why are you doing that? It's not that I'm against, obviously, like I'm not against monetization, but I'm against like that style of it. And I was operating under the thesis of, if I just keep doing this, just doing my thing, like organically stuff will happen. And that's why I started doing Amazon affiliate links, was not so I could pimp out weird products, but because doing a tech channel, one of the most common things that you get asked is about your gear. You get comments about what camera, what lens, whatever. And I started getting so many comments where people were like, oh, I bought this lens because of you. I bought this 3D printer because of you, or whatever. I'm like, if I'm selling $1,000 camera lenses for Canon, like, and there's a chance I can get a commission on these, like, since now I guess I'm a Canon salesperson, like unofficially, why not get a commission of that? And if I'm using a service like Artlist or Epidemic or whatever, and I like it and I recommend it, and they're like, hey, yeah, if you want to send people our way, we'll give you a commission. I'm like, cool. Like, I would be sending people your way anyway, because it's the thing I would recommend. So I'll take that. And then as things just kind of go organically, and the first time you do it, when I started Amazon affiliate things or whatever, like last year, it's like, oh, I made, $44 this month. That's amazing. That's a couple meals that I didn't have to pay for. And then it just kind of grows, and you're like, oh my gosh, like there's a thing. It's very unpredictable. It's very volatile, but it's a thing.
And this is why I started my business, because I think it's a wonderful, beautiful new thing that we can do in today's world because of these tools, that you could literally get paid to share whatever your heart's desire is, and that could actually bring you income. And who wouldn't want to get paid to do that?
And you can even do it if you have purple hair.
Stupid people. Not you. There's a backstory to this.
There's a generational divide that's happening. So that kind of sums up, that's sort of our ketchup and our mustard of where I've been for the past bit of time and where we're going. And I know it sounds very haphazard, because it kind of is. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know there's a thing I want to do. But that's where you were my inspiration, because that's where you started your vlog, where you were like, I'm going to check out this camera.
It's so exciting.
Yeah, and I'm just going to document this thing that I'm doing, and I don't know where it's going to go. And that's what I want to do. And, it's just been a great experience.
And I think having a conversation about failure is a wonderful way to start this journey, because there will be plenty, but take the emotion out of it and just recognize it as data and use it to adjust accordingly. Because you're going to hit roadblock after roadblock. You're going to go straight and hit a wall, and then you just have to turn.
Yeah, I know. And I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you as my therapist along the way.
Well, yeah. So we will record our therapy sessions right here on this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.
Did you just end the podcast for me? So one thing I didn't tell you was that in season 2, I want to end each show with a special segment.
Whoa.
Yeah, structure. What? And this is something I wanted to do. I wanted to start a while ago.
Is Ben going to be a guest? Is that what's happening, Ben?
Yes, it's our dog, Ben. No, I wanted to do a segment, which is kind of cool, just because I am a production person and a gearhead and all this kind of stuff, and I talk about things. I want to do with my weekly podcast, Gear of the Week, where I can just sort of just talk about something I'm super excited, a tool that I'm excited about. So I'm going to share something that I'm into right now. If you want to share something you're into right now, feel free, even if you're not as much of a gearhead as I am. But gosh, I love cameras and gear and equipment. We're recording this on like our new pod mics and everything's super cool. But the thing I'm super excited about, so just gear I'm experimenting with. I made a video a while ago that was called My Favorite Video Light, and it's only $85. And it was about this light I found on Amazon that's like a video light, and it's cool. But then at work, we got these these amazing Aputure lights, the 120Ds, which are like, it's like the YouTube light, the production light. They're everywhere. They're amazing. And I was always like, who needs this? Who needs a stupid $700, $1,000 light, whatever. And then we got them at work, and I was like, oh my God, these are so good. And so I've been playing around with them at work. Students have been playing around with one. I borrowed one for the weekend to kind of learn a little bit more about it. And I really like them. As soon as we were taking them out of the package and opening them up, I was like, I get it. The build quality, the design, the features, just the way everything is thought out, the quality of the light. I bought a video light for work that had LED lights that flicker when you use video cameras with them. So it's the stupidest video light in the world because everything just looks like a strobe light. Why would you make a video light that does that? The quality of this light is amazing. It's super soft to fuse. You can put gels in it. They're super quiet. They're built to last. I was not super, I just thought it was kind of like the trendy piece of gear to have. And then once I used it, I was like, this is an amazing piece of equipment. But I will say, having it in my specific studio or my specific setting, I actually don't notice a difference in terms of quality of light. I think this is kind of the same as my $85 light. It's hella bright. But it kind of made me feel good of like, oh, cool. The cheapo light that I use at home is plenty good. But these in a production environment, my light will fall apart if I travel with it for any amount of time. Whereas these you can use on real film sets. They have big diffusers. You can put gels in them. Oh my gosh, they're so much fun. Lighting, if you're making video and you want to upgrade your camera and stuff, that's awesome. But honestly, if you start making investments in your audio and your lighting, that is going to boost your production quality way faster than any new camera or lens will. Audio and lighting is key. Oh my gosh. So
if you want to check out any of Tom's lights that he is using and he talked about in this podcast, go ahead and check the links in the show notes and he will leave his Amazon affiliate links.
Oh, I should do that. I totally didn't think about doing that.
This whole...
Yes.
You need to start thinking like an entrepreneur, babe. Okay?
I don't want to ignore those opportunities. So anyway, yes, the Aputure 120D turns out it's not just hype. It's cool. Gear of the week. I don't have a jingle, intro, and outro. Do you have a piece of equipment you're excited about?
The thing that I've been loving right now is a digital tool called Calendly.
Oh, okay.
And this is where I basically give people who want to book services with me access to my calendar. So if they want to book any consultation sessions or coaching sessions, they have literally access to any open spaces in my calendar that I designate.
Smart.
So any open spaces between, I think, 9 and 4 o'clock I put. And, obviously I put in my appointments as needed, and the program just syncs to make sure that time's not available for people to select. And then all the prices are there. So if anyone wants to book, they just go through PayPal, go straight in my account. Everything is paid for, confirmed,
God, so much
email
simpler.
sent, and we just show up on Zoom when it's time to chat.
So if people want to book a spot on their Calendly, where do they go?
They can go to sharesparkmedia.com. ShareSpark media.com.
All right. So, and if people want to find you, where can they find you on the interwebs? Well, you know what? I think Instagram was kind of the place that I've been hanging out a lot lately. It's just Heather Just Create on Instagram. Cool. And of course, YouTube.
YouTube. Heather Just Create is my vlog channel. youtube.com/sharesparkmedia is my tutorial channel. So if you're a business owner, entrepreneur that offers services or products online, I teach you how you can use YouTube to leverage and grow your business.
Awesome. And of course, I am Tom. You can reach me at tom@enthusiasmproject.com. I'm at SodarnTom on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, youtube.com/theenthusiasmproject is, my main bread and butter. So thank you for listening to Season 2, Episode 1, all about failure. I hope you don't fail to listen to Season 2, Episode 2 next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.